on the Aggie Sports Network. From Learfield, Aggie basketball has been brought to you by Sports Academy and Racket Club. Your club, your results, your life. Zions Bank. For 150 years of helping you succeed, Zions Bank is for you. Ford. Build Ford proud. Also by Stokes. Stokes Trucking. Doing the right thing since 1979. Welcome to Aggie Postgame. From the All-in-One Flooring America radio booth, here's Scott Jerrod.
Time to kick off your post-game show. Tell you what, if that's what we're going to get this year in the Mountain West, game in and game out, buckle up, folks, because we're in for it.
Worth your money. Absolutely. Great game by the Aggies. Great game by Wyoming. Wasn't pretty at times. Stayed in it, and you want to win some ugly basketball games. But honestly, Wyoming, was a pretty basketball team tonight. They were tough and physical, but the ball moved well, and they had some talent. Agbins and Nesbitt, really good ball players. Yeah,
Agbim, the transfer from and this is interesting too, because you're seeing a lot of teams look at Division II as also a feeding ground.
Oh, absolutely.
And Fort Lewis College, Agbim's at Fort Lewis, and he showed that he absolutely is good enough to play at this level.
There's a bunch of D2 guys. A lot of guys that play at lower levels. Immediately the guy that comes to mind that everyone's talking about right now is Dalton Connect for the Lakers.
Yep.
Started at junior college. So you can find ball players everywhere, and Agbin obviously developing and the score at the D2 level, and came in here tonight. And is scoring 18 on the season, so showing he's very, very capable. And tonight, man, made it a really good basketball game.
But Ian Martinez back out with 23 points tonight with 5 rebounds. You go down the list. Let's see here. Martinez with 23. Falsliv with 19, 8 of 15 from the field, 6 rebounds. And then you got Carson Templin with 11 points tonight. And, I didn't want to say it throughout the course of the game. Carson Templin missed his first free throw badly.
Yeah.
And then reeled off 7 in a row.
Well, something happened. Something happened in those moments after the first free throw was missed. And Scott got his wand out, cast a little spell, did the reverse jinx, and he didn't miss one after that.
Perfect from the line after that, and Utah State needed each and every one of those free throws.
Absolutely. And so you look at the positives, okay? Ian did what he was supposed to do. Mason got really feisty in that second half, did what he was supposed to do. Carson scored, did more than what he's normally going to do. But honestly, you look at the situation, 5 assists, but Drake's got to be more productive. Gadarazzi's got to be more productive. And against tough physical teams, they need those guys to show up. And unfortunately tonight in the scoring column, they didn't. Gadarazzi was kind of invisible most of the night. I would say Drake did make a couple plays on the offensive end by distributing the ball, doing a good job there.
Did end up with 5 assists tonight, Drake Allen, leading the team in assists. But again, the assist numbers, which were so high to start the season, tonight, Utah State, 9 assists on 23 made field goals. That's not their normal ratio, and that number has been slowly declining throughout the last stretch of games.
Yeah, those first few games, and this is an unselfish team, so it's not like they're getting selfish and they're doing that. It's just they're playing higher level teams, and guys are having to make some plays on their own. Mason, the dribble drives to the basket and finishing. Ian's doing a little bit more on his own. And then Carson, he's scoring his points from the free throw line and offensive rebounds. No one's passing him the ball. That's the next step.
Yeah.
But no one's passing him the ball. It's just straight hustle points.
Utah State gets the win tonight, 70-67. Your post-game show brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Brandon Jensen. Give him a call right now at 435-752-4800. It's your future. Let's protect it. Well, the Aggies protect their undefeated start to the season, but, Coach, I got to think these last 3 or 4 games are taking a year or two off the old ticker.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Offensively, we're just not playing very well. You have to credit Wyoming. I thought they came in and made more shots than they have all season, but that's what happens when you let them get going early in a conference game. So I tip my cap to them. They hadn't shot the ball like that all year, and some of that was our defense, but a win's a win. I thought guys made some big plays down the stretch, but certainly some of these new guys got to understand the physicality of this league, right? And that's Auburn Gederetsky and some of our guys got to toughen up in these key moments because Mason and Ian can only do so much offensively, right? I mean, so we got to get some other guys going, but those kids are special players.
Yeah, and it was kind of a toughness. Carson is going to battle with whoever it is, and Mason, Ian kind of recognize what they got to do no matter who it's against. But I was mentioning that Aubin, Drake, I mean, some of those guys got to find a way to impact the game when the other team's trying to take them out. How do you help them do that?
Spence, a lot of film. We get halftime stats of where guys are, points per possession defensively and offensively. And now we have enough lineup data that, Jordy Barnes is going to be getting more and more minutes because he makes the right play. And believe it or not, he's one of our best defenders.
Yeah.
So he's going to beat some of these guys out. And, it's a good thing to see because he's only a freshman.
Well, and you want to see everyone have an opportunity because there's going to be nights that Drake's not on, Jordy. I mean, and keeping everyone engaged all the way through March because I know so many times I've seen guys who've been quiet most of the season step up in the conference tournament, in a quarterfinal conference tournament game. One thing I want to ask is you guys had to get really creative with your defensive schemes. I mean, you were in 14. You were in everything, five-man switching, press. And give Wyoming a ton of credit because just against the zone, the ball moved. But talk a little bit about how much switching was going on out there. Yeah,
we played a lot of man-to-man, which we haven't done in a while. That's our 14 defense. We played a 2-2-1. We played a 1-2-2, and we played a diamond. We were just trying to throw things at them because everything they shot went in. And then, in a difficult game to call like this, they drive the ball so much. They foul you on every play, honestly, Spence. If you really watch the film, I told the 3 referees, guys, go back and watch the tape on every cut. I watched every clip at halftime, and I'm telling you, every other possession was a foul. They hold you on every possession. So it's hard to run good offense when you're being held the whole game. So we try to play out of the middle of the floor, right, and we got some of those, things to the rim. Missed a lot of layups. Then we ran a lot of that shuffle series that we run, that back cut, and that play kind of won the game when Mason made it. But it was a physical game, right? Both teams are really battling, and that's what the Mountain West is about. And we got to learn from this. I just want the new guys to play better. I think they got to give us more.
Well, when I was putting the stats together and prep for this thing, and I'm seeing, a guy shoot 2 of 24 from 3, and the team like 29%. I'm like, you almost get a little nervous because you're like, this amount of shooting they're doing, they're almost going to be due eventually.
Yeah, I just don't understand what. Our guys thought. Like we go over these scouts, Scotty. We said number 2's a shooter. He's struggling. Number 11 played at Kentucky. He's on his 4th school. Number 16's on his 4th school.
Yeah. But started at Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen these guys for 5 years. Some of these guys have been in college, it seems like, for 10 years. It's craziness what's going on in the sport. But you got to listen to the scout, right? You got to understand what guys can do and what they can't. But you got to give the Obi kid, number 5, a lot of credit. That's a D2 kid. Believe it or not, it was down to them in Youngstown State. So I knew all about him. And to be honest with you, I knew we didn't have anybody who could stay in front of him. And he was a big concern. I didn't sleep well last night. Thought our guys were a little overconfident, to be honest with you. And that's never going to happen again. So I can't wait to get to practice tomorrow.
Yeah,
so I take a little of that blame.
They don't want to hear that.
I think those players
don't want to hear that. Now, Coach, the question that I have that I'm most interested in, because I haven't talked to you the whole break, how was the barbecue?
Really good barbecue.
It was good.
So we went the guy that used to be the Oregon State coach, Coach Robinson, is Michelle Obama's. They're related, brother and sister. And I told him we went to the barbecue spot. And he said, there's been 4 presidents go there, Spence, believe it or not. So I said, Paulie, you did really, really good with picking that spot. So, it was
job,
really
Paulie.
good.
Great job. And great job on the road trip. You guys got to feel really good. I know you talked to Scotty about all of that, but coming back here, were you worried at all, guys tired? I mean.
Yeah, that's why we do 2 game MTEs and not 3. I just think everything happens so fast, Spence. Like, you don't get a ton of practice time. You know what I mean? I wish we would have did a better job of trying to work on our presses. But you're always concerned as a coach. You don't want to get them hurt. You don't want to get them tired. We have these tracking devices. We have so many different things. But I think we've got to, figure that part of it out. But I felt like we had 2 pretty good practices. But hopefully we'll come back Saturday with a little more sense of urgency, because now it's 3 or 4 games. Our shooting percentages are absolutely atrocious. We're the 30th, one of the top 30 teams in the country at getting our shots blocked. There's nothing more demoralizing, Spence, when you go in there to the hole and you get your shot blocked. We're top 30 in the country, so we're not making reads at below the free throw line. We're throwing up a lot of bad shots. We're not playing off 2 feet. We worked on that today at the shoot-around. So, you're never as good as you think you are. You're never as bad. We're 8-0, but at the end of the day, you got to try to go 1-0 on Saturday. And you're trying to tell that to 18 to 23-year-old kids that are now getting paid, right? You got all of, campus talking about you're undefeated, right? So there's a lot thrown at these guys, but it's our job as coaches. We got to reel them in. We got to get to work tomorrow.
I want to give a shout out to Carson, because he came into this game 9 of 20 from the free throw line, missed his first free throw badly, and then reeled off 7 in a row, and a few of those down the stretch in really critical moments.
He's played great. The kid deserves everything he's getting. You talk about him and Mason, 2 sophomores really making the jump. Sometimes sophomores go in slumps, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of sophomores in my 13 years as head coach that have great freshman years and they go down. These kids, they're winners. They really embody what the Utah State experience is supposed to be. When they put the jersey on, it means something to them. Mace had a couple unbelievable takes. He got the ball stolen 2 or 3 times. We just got to get him to slow down, read the game better, whether it's a pick and roll, whether it's help coming to him, and that will come. But both kids are fearless. I love coaching both those kids.
Coach, I'll let you go.
All right, thanks,
Congratulations on the win.
Good job, Coach.
See you guys.
There he is.
You were there. You watched the game. Or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. KVNU Aggie Game Day is brought to you by Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Heating and Air, Primrose Home Care and Hospice, Blue Sky Restoration, Advanced Garage Door, The Logo Shop, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Golden Spike Electric, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, My Mattress, Riverwoods Conference Center, Cash Valley Bank, Aegis Healthcare, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Les Olson IT, Adams Wealth Advisors, DD Auto and Salvage, LSS Insurance Agency, Cafe Sabor, The Sportsman. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
Well, it wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be in the pregame prediction. A lot closer, but San Diego State also tonight taking the Lobos to the extreme, just like Wyoming took our Aggies to the extreme. But it's a win, and Stockton, Jalen joining us here on the postgame. Guys, did you hear Calhoun's comments? Yes, we won, but he can't wait to get to practice tomorrow to kind of work some of the bugs out. Jalen, what did you think about tonight's performance?
Yeah, like we said, kind of like we touched on before the game, you're not always going to have perfect games, but sounded like he was a little frustrated, with probably some of the things they went over on the scouting report, the way that they let some of the guys get free and hit some open shots and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, at the end of the day, they won, and he's proud of them for that reason. But, you want that hunger, same thing from a coach, just like you want from your players. They're 8-0, but he still sees a lot of areas that they can improve in. And that's what you want to see. You want that hunger from your players, but from a coach as well. And I think that's why he's excited, and wants to get back to practice, because he's still seeing the areas that they can fine tune and still become even better, even though they're 8-0. And like we said, it's a Mountain West game. We kind of knew what we were going to be in for. We knew that some players are probably going to play better than they usually do, but sounded like they slipped up on some scouting reports, and they also need to just finish better around the rim. And like you said, they were getting their shots blocked a lot throughout the whole season. So those are all different areas that they can capitalize on and still steadily improve.
So it's, I guess it's good to get the win, Stockton, as we're talking with Stockton and Jalen on the Aggie Call post-game show. Stockton, your thoughts on what you saw there? I was following you on X, and of course we're in here too, but you looked a little green there, Stockton.
Yeah, not thrilled with what we saw tonight, and obviously Coach Calhoun, he hit every nail on the head there, the post-game. best quote of the season so far from him. I thought our guys were a little overconfident. That's never going to happen again.
I can't wait until practice tomorrow.
They're going to be running like crazy. I bet you run about every line in that gym 20 times. So it's going to be it's going to be a cardio day for the boys, and unfortunately they earned it tonight. The shooting has just been really poor, and aside from Ian Martinez with 23 and Mason Falslev with 19, you had 2 points between your other 3 starters. That's just not acceptable. So especially in a Mountain West game like this, a team that's going to bully you physically, and I know we heard from Calhoun too, where they're fouling him on every other play, and that's absolutely correct. The officiating, we'll have that discussion in a minute. Just absolutely terrible tonight, but a lot of things that you grimace at, but somehow you're still 8-0, and you got to focus on that and move on.
Jalen, this kind of reminds me of my high school dating career. Actually, my dating career before I met my current wife, Giovanna. Like, maybe a win, but they were some ugly wins.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing. Like, there's going to be good wins, there's going to be ugly ones. Like you said, you got to be happy and satisfied that you still found a way to win the game. But I think there's just certain areas that we have to be better at. Like you guys said, our starters outside of Ian and Mason, we just have to get more production. You can't really see zeros across the board from your starters and then 2 points only. And like you said, thank goodness for the bench. Thank goodness for Carson Templin shooting well at the free throw line when it comes down to that kind of stuff. And our bench really supplying the extra points that we needed. But I think you're going to need some more production from your starters outside of Mason and Ian. And I think their consistency has been there the whole season, but we need that third guy that's going to step up and, ease some of the pressure on them, especially when teams start to lock in on them a little bit more as they get more film and they're able to watch more film on what they do. And the other thing, too, is, I like that this game we were better with our turnovers. I think that's something we can still get better at, but I also think we got to get better at assists, Our assist-to-turnover ratio is almost like 1-to-1, and you would like it to be at least 2-to-1 if you can. And so far it hasn't been that this season. So I think those are a couple areas we can do too, is just, be ready to facilitate, be ready to shoot and make open shots. But at the same time, we just got to be smarter with some of the decision making that we have as well.
So Jalen, as your experience as a player, how do you recover from this? I mean, how do you handle this, go into the next game against Utah Tech that's coming up this Saturday? You got the win, but Coach is going to be kind of a bulldog the next practice. How does that sit with you with the player? Is it something that kind of puts you down, or is it something that inspires you to kind of bounce back?
Yeah, it's going to inspire him. It's hard to say because, Ian and Mason probably feeling good, they played well, you know what I mean? We still got the win. They're feeling good, but they're going to have to use those leadership skills that they have to just make sure that these other guys have the confidence. Obviously, we know Coach Calhoun, he's going to be on them. He's going to make sure they're not overconfident. He's going to make sure they don't make the same mistakes they made tonight. And Ian and Mason just got to make sure that the rest of the team is ready to work, continue to work, continue to improve, make sure they're focused in, especially on film. It sounds like he was a little frustrated with what happened with the scouting report, probably some of the film. And I think Mason and Ian, they hear it from the coach, but it sometimes means more coming from the leaders of the team. And I think those two are going to have to step up. They're probably, like I said, they played well. They're going to be positive about it, but they know that Coach Calhoun, he probably is telling them the same stuff that he just told us on the radio right now in these certain areas that they got to be better at. And yeah, he's probably going to be a little bit more strict on certain things in practice, but that's what good teams have to do. You got to still find those little areas, sometimes big areas where you can still capitalize and improve.
Jalen joins us every Aggie game day and Aggie call. Jalen, I'm going to go ahead and let you go and enjoy your night. We'll talk to you on Saturday. You have a good rest of your week, my man.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate you guys.
All right, take care. So, Stockton, as we transition over here real quick, I'll give out the text line 435-554-1175. That's 554-1175, Tennessee. You have been waiting very patiently on the line while we got to Jalen. Thank you for waiting and welcome to Aggie Call. Your thoughts on tonight's game? Tennessee, are you there with us? All right. It looks like I had them holding on a little bit too long. So the number, 435-753-5868 at 753-KVNU, or you can hit the text line. We will roll through all the text line that is coming in after the Aggies win. I think that's Tennessee calling back right now. So we'll be back with more KVNU Aggie Call right after this.
Justin Hamilton and all of us at Cafe Sabor wish you and your family a safe and happy holiday. For the entire month of December, with every $25 gift card purchase, you will receive a $5 card for free. Great food. It's the perfect gift for family, friends, or coworkers. Purchase a $25 gift card and get $5 additional for free. Happy holidays from all of us at Cafe Sabor.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We've been thinking about what you're going to get each other for Christmas, and we want to help out a little bit. Jewelry. The bling is cool, but didn't you do that recently? USU season tickets. No. Well, maybe. And if you do, call me. We'll go together. A hot tub. Yeah, they're cozy for 30 minutes, but let me suggest something that'll keep you cozy and supported and help your day go better. A mattress at My Mattress. The best time of the year to buy is right now. Come in today and sleep better tonight. The best Christmas gift possible.
Happy holidays from the entire team at Adams Wealth Advisors. As we celebrate the joy of this season, it's also time to plan for a financially sound future. Wondering about tax strategies or required investment distributions? Adams Wealth Advisors has the answers. The Adams Wealth team is here to guide you through any complexities and ensure a prosperous new year. Happy holidays from Adams Wealth Advisors, where achieving your financial goals is their mission. Call today to schedule an appointment, 752-1702, or search Adams Wealth Advisors online.
Over the past few years, strong and crazy weather patterns have battered various parts of the country. Northern Utah and southern Idaho are not immune from its share of wild weather. Be prepared for power outages with a Generac backup generator from Golden Spike Electric. They are your local source for Generac sales and service. Generac keeps you in control when bad weather strikes. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
KVNU Game Day is back with Aggie Call. Call 435-753-KVNU or text 435-554-1175.
I'm not content to be with you in the daytime. Girl, I want to be with
Special thanks to LSS Insurance. Overwhelmed with Medicaid rules, regulations, and questions? They can help you walk through everything. 752-9493. Prodigy Brewing, Logan's family-friendly brew pub, and Cafe Sabor, serving up the best food you'll find in Cache Valley. Proud sponsors of KVNU, Aggie Game Day, and Aggie Call. The Aggies take it over the Wyoming Cowboys just by 3 points tonight. Not that 18.5-point spread. Also a couple of milestones to talk about. Ian Martinez with his 1,000th career point, so celebrating that. And Coach Calhoun picking up his 250th career win for college basketball. Taking us to the text line right now, 435-554-1175. That's 554-1175. But first, actually, Timothy called back to get us on here with Aggie Call. Timothy, sorry I dropped you there, man. Thanks for hanging on.
You're so very welcome. I'm calling, and I was there at the game, and it was an awesome game. I was worried at the start of the game because they didn't have a good start, but they came back and picked it up. Like the coach said, there's things they got to work on, and there's one criticism I want to make is they were terrible on their free throw shooting, and I hope I'm right because it seemed like it. What was their free throw shooting percentage?
Stockton, I'm going to have you jump on that real quick.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has been kind of an issue, which is unfortunate because early in that game, at one point, they were like 10 for 11 from the free throw line. They were looking really good in the first little bit, and then you have guys just missing charity shots at the end of the game. They ended up 19 for 26, 73% from the line. You get the job done, and obviously, Wyoming missed a couple of their free throws too, which helped, and you get some of those turnovers. But man, it's a lot more comfortable if Drake Allen makes those last two free throws. It's another thing too. It not only with the free throws, it just feels like Drake has not been on it this season quite yet. I'm waiting for him to get going. But the free throw shooting is definitely something that needs to be addressed by a couple different guys on the roster. Now, Ian Martinez, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. He's the guy you want at the line. He's averaging like over 92% from free throws this season. And Carson Templin had a big bounce back, 7 for 8 from the stripe. He's been struggling the last couple games. But, man, it's not great when you're shooting 73% from the free throw stripe. It's obviously not terrible, but you really like to have some of those gimme points, especially in that late game situation. And then you don't have to hold your breath when that half-court shot goes up.
Yes, I totally agree with you, and I agree with Coach Calhoun took all my words that I wanted to say, was what he said when you guys talked to him, and I agree with him. He's got to help them and practice them, and they didn't do a whole very well on their defense, like rebounding and everything. They need to get in there and box out, and I didn't feel like they played their hardest and like they normally play or how they should play basketball. They kind of slacked off on today's game, and I wasn't happy with that. But I'm happy with Coach Calhoun. They've got a great coach, and hopefully they'll listen to him, and Coach Calhoun will kick them in the butt and put them into shape, I hope, and want that, and I'm sure he will. And I'm very pleased with Coach Calhoun. I even saw him. I sit right there down on the floor behind the basket right next to the players' bench, the Aggie bench, and I saw the coaches out standing up and talking to the players and everything and giving them yelling and everything, and I'm proud and happy to see that. And I'm like, man, we're going to have a great team this year, and hopefully the players listen to what the coaches are saying, because it didn't seem like they were, but I know Coach Calhoun will whip them into shape, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'll stop talking so you guys can go on with your show or whatever. So.
We appreciate you, Timothy, for calling in, and thank you for Stockton for handling the mothership while it just decided to go down on me. Now my computers went completely black, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just keep on rolling here.
Yep.
I go into the text line right now, Stockton, while I get everything reset up. Can you help me out here?
Yeah, also, just want to mention real quick, by the way, we've got some people that have been calling into the text line. We're not going to be able to pick up your phone calls if you call the text number. You've got to give us a call on the phone line that we have dialed into the radio board. JD, would give that to him one more time.
As soon as I can get it up, all my numbers went down.
Okay, yeah, so we're actually not taking your calls for the next couple of minutes. Give us a second here. So let's comb through these texts that we've had rolling in. 5452, who chimed in earlier today with the score prediction. He said he was way off on the score prediction, but he did say Ian was going to have 23 points tonight, and that did come true. Aggies are 8-0. Yeah, I think we were all a little bit off on our predictions today. Expected this to be a different kind of game, a different kind of night for Utah State. And to kind of echo what we just heard from Timothy, like, man, you got to love Coach Calhoun. The way that he's responding to this game tonight, you would have no clue if you listened to him after that game that was his 250th career win, that Ian's got 1,000 career points and they're 8-0, because he sounded mad. And he should. There's a lot of stuff that you have to address going forward where you're not getting a lot of production out of your starters and you're not getting a lot of offensive help outside from your two leading scorers. I think this game is now going to take everyone except for Mason and Ian under 10 points per game when you had the starting five and then even a bench player averaging over 10 points a game for the first 5 of the season. So something's got to change on that end. And then, I love that Coach Calhoun is as fired up as he is, because that's a guy that is going to hold his team accountable. That's not a guy that's going to say, oh, we won, so it's okay, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. He's not happy with that win, and he shouldn't be. You should be happy that you got the win, that you're 8-0, but there's a lot of things that you have to improve when you go back and look at that game tape.
Phone number 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. Or 435-554-1175. Want to say thank you to S.E. Needham Jewelers for 127 years. Utahns have trusted Needham Jewelers for the finest selection of diamonds. Les Olson IT, defense wins champions. That's true in business, too. And Triton Medical Supply, a partner for all your medical needs. Call them today at 435-557-6687.
All right, keeping it moving. 89-68. Said it was almost like the Weber State game of a few years ago. I do believe the Aggies will play better when they go up to Laramie. Yeah, I agree, especially now that you've got a taste of this team and you know how physical they're going to be, and you know they're going to try and beat the crap out of you basically in the post and get away with it. You'll be prepared for that next time, and I do think it'll go a little differently. I also think that this is just kind of that season slump that you get every year. Every team goes through it at some point, unless you're one of the greatest teams in college basketball history. There's always going to be a time where you're just not scoring like you should be. And the really good teams still win those games regardless, which is what Utah State has been doing from that Iowa game on, including tonight. However, you've got to find a way to get out of it, because the further you get down the schedule, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. You have a couple tune-up games coming up with Utah Tech, and then South Florida is not going to be a pushover, but it's not going to be the kind of a test that you're going to get when you go to St. Mary's in a couple weeks. But you do got to keep in mind you're going to St. Mary's on the 22nd, right before we break out of non-conference play and break for Christmas and then come back and go to San Diego. That St. Mary's game is going to be a dogfight. And the way they're shooting right now, they might lose that game by 20 if they play the way they played tonight.
I tell you, it's definitely a win, but kind of like an ugly one. Going to the Aggie Call phone line to Kevin. Welcome to Aggie Call. What do you got on your mind?
Hey, so yeah, I was just wondering, is there any update on the sickness that was going through the basketball team? I know during the tournament they had there was a flu or something, and some of the players weren't playing good. Fish didn't play a whole lot tonight, so I was just kind of curious if maybe that was part of the reason why they weren't playing to the energy they usually do.
It's possible. I know that, it's been, like a little less than a week since they were on that trip, so it's definitely possible. They've got some lingering effects, and it still might be getting passed around the locker room a little bit here and there. I feel like Calhoun would have said something in the postgame because he's been quick to clarify stuff like that in the postgame for the last few games. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to think that, that's been the case tonight. But, yeah, Isaac only played 11 minutes tonight, didn't really have a great game, and that absence was notable. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but I didn't see anything official.
Yeah, I know net, we're 14 in net, and we're probably going to drop, 5 or 6 spots just because we didn't blow them out. So really going forward, this team needs to act like every game is championship game and try to beat them by 20, Yeah,
absolutely. This result alone is going to hurt them in terms of net ranking, in terms of Ken Palm, in terms of the AP voters come Monday.
That low is huge. So to try to keep it that low for the rest of the season is where we want to be. But if we're not blowing out teams that are not good, then that's going to be a problem. We can't play down to the level of our competition.
Yeah, spot on. And that's why I think this game on Saturday night against Utah Tech, you got to beat that team by probably 30 to keep people's eyes on you.
Run it. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, that's all I got. Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, thank you so much for the call. Next up, going to Sean on KVNU Aggie Call. Welcome to Aggie Call, Sean.
Hey, guys. Good evening. Always good to get a win. 3 thoughts, and hopefully these will make sense. Jordy Barnes needs more playing time. Drake's he's not it right now. I don't know what's going on. Thought number 1. Thought number 2, I think Calhoun may have underestimated Wyoming. He was fiddling around with lineups way too much early, and they got some confidence and kept it close. So I think some of the guys look bad because they don't know when they're going to play and when they're not going to play. So second thought. And then third, oh, boy, those officials. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I'll shut up and let you guys talk. Just interested on your thoughts on those things. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll try and answer you in order here. So point number 1 with Jordy Barnes, I think that's kind of what Calhoun was hinting at in the postgame, where he said, he likes these younger guys, and he's got freshmen that are beating out some of the, the older guys and the returning guys. That to me was pretty clearly saying, hey, Jordy's probably going to be shifted into this rotation a little bit, especially because Drake Allen tonight, 2 points, 1 for 4 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 0 for 2 from the stripe. 3 rebounds, 5 assists, a foul, and ended up at a -8 on the scorer sheet. So the plus-minus, if you're not familiar, just to anyone out there listening, is calculated based on the scoring differential of your team when you are on the floor versus when you are off. So that means that Drake Allen, if you take him off the floor, Utah State's up by 8 more points. It's been a struggle for Drake early in this season, and I kind of want to err on the side of giving him some time to adjust and all this stuff. But the other part of it, too, is you look at him as a grad transfer who was very highly touted coming out of UVU. It was a very big pickup for this program. You expect him to step in and really show up in games like this, especially in the opening conference game when you're back at home, and that's kind of the expectation. So it's tough. I've got a foot in both camps where I'm like, yeah, we'll give him time to adjust, and obviously all the pressure that's falling on him now because he's seeing all these numbers too. He knows exactly where he stands, and he's feeling the pressure as well. That's not going to help his game, unfortunately, but you kind of got to give him time, but at the same time, expect that he's going to show up. And if he doesn't show up big against Utah Tech, I think we might see Jordy starting pretty soon.
Yeah, I think I definitely want to ask Jalen on Saturday if he looks at the box scores after the game, like how he focuses on that. This is Aggie Call, celebrating the win. It was a close one, but a win's a win. Text line's open, 435-554-1175. Phone line wide open, 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. We'll be running through your comments. We've got several texts stacked up on the text line. We'll get there. Phone line open, 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. Why buy from Daryl's? They are your one-stop appliance shop for experienced salespeople. Alpine Home Medical is Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment and their service providers. Call today, 774-4500. And Advanced AC and Air Conditioning can get your scheduled service today. Visit them at advancedheating-ac.com. We'll be right back with more Aggie Call on KVNU.
This is Robbie Phelps with LSS Insurance. It's time to reevaluate your Medicare coverage for next year. There are big changes to Medicare Part D, and we can help. LSS Insurance is dedicated to providing you excellent care, support, and ensuring your health coverage meets your individual needs. Skip all the TV ads and loads of mail. Let us help you through all your local options face-to-face. Call 752-9493. Come see us. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493 to speak with a licensed insurance agent.
Some people like a white Christmas. Aggie fans, we prefer a blue Christmas. Put something blue under the tree from Locker 42. Here are a few gift ideas. For him, a Travis Matthews or Cutter and Buck Aggie logoed polo shirt. For her, Nike women's pullover hoodies. Aggie plush blankets are popular. Hoodies, jackets, sweatshirts. Give your Aggie fan a gift card and let them choose from the Locker 42 wall of hats. Make it a blue Christmas with something under the tree from Locker 42.
It's Christmas savings time at Daryl's Appliance. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. Are you shopping for Wolf, Sub-Zero, or Thermador? We have what you are looking for, and we have exclusive builder pricing, plus all the rebates. Plus, our delivery and installation is by certified installers. Partner with us for your home build or remodel and experience the Daryl's difference. West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Holiday parties and events at the Riverwoods Conference Center offer a festive and fun holiday atmosphere. Paired with catering from Elements Restaurant, your special occasion can include tasty hors d'oeuvres, delicious entrees, and decadent desserts that always deliver excellence. Now accepting reservations for this holiday season. The Riverwoods Conference Center and Elements Restaurant easily accommodate large or small events. Visit theriverwoods.com or call 750-5151.
The Utah State Aggies is sponsored by Golden Spike Electric, Generac, power you can count on News Talk KVNU, the home of the Aggies.
Welcome back to KVNU, Aggie Call, DD Auto and Salvage, Cache Valley's #1 place to get the most money for your junk vehicles and scrap metal. Golden Spike Electric. You don't let Mother Nature spoil your night. Get that backup generator installed today. Call them at 257-3016. And, of course, Primrose Home and Health Hospice. Exceptional home health care in the comfort of your own home. We need to wrap up a text question real quick. That was a couple-parter. And then we'll get to Lloyd on the Aggie Call phone line.
Yeah, just our previous caller had a couple additional questions after that Drake Allen point. The second one, if I remember correctly, it was Calhoun. Tweaking the lineups a ton and just kind of not being consistent with the roster, not idealizing that lineup. I actually have an interesting thing to add here. Jason Walker tweeted this out about 8 minutes ago. He's over there at the Spectrum and at that postgame with Calhoun. He said an interesting tidbit from Jerrod Calhoun's postgame presser that he said he's been looking through the analytics and lineup data, and a big conclusion he's come to from that data is that he needs to play Jordy Barnes more, which is pretty much exactly what we were just talking about. So good heads-up call there, and yeah, I definitely think that that's kind of the track that we're heading down. And the third part was, the refs. And, yeah, we won't hammer on it too much. It's over, so there's not really much we can do about it, but it is unfortunately a continuous trend, especially in this league, it seems, of officials just not having control of the game. The first half is starkly different from the second half, and usually in a bad way. You like it at the beginning of a game if the officials are calling things a little bit tighter just to set the precedent of what's going to be allowed physically, technically, stuff like that. When the officials start off and they let you play the game and then they really tighten down and they kind of get nitpicky at the end of the game, that's when everyone gets frustrated. And that's what Calhoun was saying in that post-game presser is like, it's just it's so inconsistent. And then they're also holding you on every single play. They let that go in the first half and then things flip in the second half. You don't know what's going to go on. You'd like them to call it the whole game because it is a foul. It just seems to be a continuous thing in not only basketball, but in almost every sport across the conference. Just officiating, the bar has lowered year in, year out. It just keeps getting lower. And for, Mountain West basketball, where this has established itself as one of the top 3 conferences in basketball in the country at the moment, or maybe top 5, 3 might be getting a little bit greedy, but the officiating, that kind of stuff drags down the quality of the product. And so you really need that to get addressed, and the lack of accountability has just been killer for years and years and years. So that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of one of those wins tonight that feels kind of like a gut punch a little bit. I think if you're looking at any rankings for the rest of the week, I wouldn't expect the Aggies to climb.
They'll probably drop. They were receiving like something just over double-digit AP votes this week. If they don't beat Utah Tech by 30+, they'll drop out of votes entirely, possibly.
It's definitely going to have to get back on the road. Lloyd's been waiting to talk here on Aggie Call. Lloyd, appreciate your patience. What do you have to say about tonight's win?
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me today. I'm a 65-year lifelong Aggie fan. I just wanted to say I enjoyed watching the Aggies tonight. They put forth a good effort, and Mr. Falslev, he's tougher than a $2 steak. I'll take him on my team today.
Oh, isn't he just the greatest? Some of the plays he was making at the end of that game and getting Utah State some second chance opportunities. I think about the missed free throw that he turns into an Ian Martinez three-pointer as pretty much a perfect illustration of the way that he runs the offense and reacts to things. And he's also getting his hand in the passing lanes a ton. He had 3 steals tonight, led the team in steals. Had a bunch of deflections too, but yeah, that guy is unreal.
Yeah, he's definitely the motor that keeps the Aggies running, just like my old trusty John Deere.
Thanks for the call, Lloyd. Appreciate you listening, and a lifelong Aggie fan. We can definitely feel that tonight in here in Cache Valley. The A is blue as we celebrate the win over Wyoming. It wasn't the prettiest win in the book, but, we got there. If you want to join us, 435-554-1175. That's 554-1175. Or hitting the phone line, 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU.
Let's rapid fire a bunch of texts that have been rolling through here. 9315. Is Wyoming really that good? No, we just played down to them. Second text, a few times there, I thought Utah State brought back their national winning wrestling team from the past. How do the refs let Wyoming do a half or a full Nelson? Yeah, that was the worst part of the game for me, and the most clear picture that the refs had no clue what they were doing. Mason Falslev goes down to the ground to grab a loose ball. The Wyoming Cowboys try to snap his spine in half and then put him in a chokehold, and they call it jump ball. I don't understand that at all. And that kind of stuff just brings down the quality of what could be a very, very good basketball game. So that has got to get addressed. I will ride that bandwagon until the wheels fall off. 25-75, Fish didn't play a whole lot. Any idea why or thoughts on it? Could be, like we were talking about, some sort of stomach bug or some sort of something that's been going around. And then the second text there from 25-75, thoughts on Drake Allen tonight. He's been really struggling recently. Sucked when he missed both of those late free throws. Yeah, kind of as we've been talking about throughout the game, I'm split between let's give him a couple more games and I got to see him score 20 on Saturday, or I don't know what we're going to do. So it's a really tough position for a first-year transfer to be in, and I know that he's got the maturity and the experience to handle stuff like that, and hopefully that shows through on Saturday. But yeah, he's got to turn it around, JD.
I think I don't think I'm worried or ready to press the panic button on anybody yet. I think when we get to St. Mary's and we see that test and how it lays out, it is going to be the biggest test of the season so far.
Well, to me, you got to get it going this weekend because you've only got like 2 or 3 more games in the spectrum before you got to go play that game.
It is, but it's one of those things. We've seen this team run teams out the door and then keep teams close. And then, with Iowa, they made a halftime adjustment and did it. They also did it. Coach Calhoun did it the other day on the tournament over Thanksgiving weekend. I don't think I'm going to panic on anybody. I think if you realize this is Drake's, first season with us, adjusting to a new system, new coach, new everything. It's the new reality. I'm cool with Drake taking a little time to get used to his surroundings and not willing to give up on him yet and say, because when you get to those St. Mary's games and you get to those conference games, you're going to want that veteran leadership on the floor to help calm things down because things are going great right now. We're kind of going through, I would say, not the cupcake part of the schedule, but it's the lighter part of the schedule until you get into the Mountain West, where the conference is just going to be taking shot after shot at each other.
Yeah, I agree with you where it's not fully jump ship yet, and there's still time for Drake to get it together. But I am kind of, as I've been digesting it the last 20 minutes, I'm kind of leaning towards start him on the bench on Saturday and see how he responds. Put him in the 6-man role, put him in the 7th-man role even, have him play a little bit less of a role and let Jordy start that game. See what happens. See if the numbers continue on the trends they've been on. See if Drake responds and makes the most out of his minutes on the floor. That's what I would expect, and that's what I would hope for. But you got to see. So I think that that kind of a shift wouldn't hurt incredibly bad. But I also, going back to that call we had a couple minutes ago, you do have to start kind of solidifying your starting 5 and putting guys in the roles they're going to be playing in conference play because you don't want to be changing things up too much once we get into about the halfway point of December. So really, you got to start sitting down on some of those things and figuring out that. But otherwise, I think there's still a lot of time for this team to adjust, and they've done really well at adjusting in short time frames, and they've responded well to stuff like this, but you got to respond now.
I don't think, Stockton, this is the final product for this team.
No.
I mean,
No.
I would caution anybody to think that it is. I don't think we have seen the peak of this team yet. I think we are still seeing the puzzle pieces that Coach Calhoun is, putting together on the board and making them fit and working and seeing what combinations go. And, having a guy like Carson Templin, the way he has shown up and played, the way Jordy Barnes, the way Mason is just continuing to have a season. It was great to see Ian have a good game coming back after not feeling well during the tournament and giving his all there. But it's one of those things where we just have to realize this Aggie team's a work in progress. They're still building. I'm going to think good things are going to come out of this, this win. It was really close where Coach Calhoun's going to work on the guys a little bit for the next couple of practices.
Well, he's still installing his system, too, and that's the thing that we all got to keep in mind at the back of our heads is I know it's gotten so easy to just, to start at a full sprint with each coach that's come in here over the last 5 years because that's how it seems to go. But this is still a new coach that just coached his 8th ball game for this team, and they are still implementing that system. That they had to move that defense around a little bit tonight and switch to a man for a point of time because Wyoming was just shooting that matchup zone out of the gym earlier on, and their 3-point shooting tonight was ridiculous. They went into that game 29% from 3, and they shot, I think, 46% from 3 on the game, which is just that part of it is hard to game plan, and that it's just. What are you going to do when a team is shooting lights out? It's going to happen every now and then. But
Utah State could not answer because there was a time I walked in here and I looked at you and I said, we're like at 18% from the 3-point line.
They ended at 29% and 41% from the field, but in the first half it was awful.
It was horrible.
The first half of their last 4 games has been just terrible. It's been very bad basketball, and it's been sub 500 basketball in the first half of the last few games.
Yeah.
And then Calhoun goes in and he looks at the tape, he makes the adjustments, and they come out and they win the game somehow. You and I, we were talking about this with like 5 minutes left to go, and you asked me, are we going to lose this game? I said, no, I don't think we are, but I don't think we deserve to win either. So, really kind of confusing night and a lot of stuff to go over, but great teams find a way. Even when they don't deserve to win, even when they shoot poorly and their opponent outshoots them and out-physicals them and all this kind of stuff, you still find a way to do it despite the stats, despite whatever, and that's what Utah State's been doing.
We'll get back to the text line just one second. I want to ask Stockton this question. When you look at a game like tonight, how do you feel? I mean, because this could be very representative of what conference play is, right?
This is what it's going to be.
Because, like, it could be ESPN could say this is going to be a blowout. Eric Franson shared, he said that the point spread 18.5. If anybody believed that, you're kind of, well, I'm learning. I'm learning not to take the point spreads anymore.
If we want to talk about point spreads, let's talk about how the Lakers were 3.5-point favorites and lost by 30-something to the Heat.
Can we not talk about LeBron and the Lakers, please? I'm a Lakers fan. I grew up in Pasadena. I'm a Showtime Lakers fan, and I'm not really happy about this generation of Lakers. But anyway, just like, the Lobos were in a shootout with San Diego State tonight.
That's just how this conference
and then
is.
Creighton took out, who did Creighton take out tonight?
Yeah, Creighton knocked off Kansas. Stephen Ashworth and the Creighton Blue Jays beat Kansas by like 13. It's their second second win against an AP number 1 team in the last 3 years.
And didn't San Diego State just beat Creighton too? Like, everybody's kind of beating up on everybody going around. It's a young season, and you've got to be ready to go and face these battles. I think when we get into conference play, Stockton, we'll see a lot of these real close games, despite what the point spread says, because that's just kind of Mountain West basketball. Getting back to the text line right now on Aggie Calls, celebrating the A being blue in Cache Valley, 435-554-1175 for the text line. Phone line, 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU.
1326 saying USU showed a lot of composure when Wyoming went on runs. We usually get the best version of teams in the spectrum, especially that team. We usually get the best version of Wyoming in the spectrum somehow, some way, even on a down year. Like they just shoot incredibly. And Utah State, that's a lot of composure and a lot of, just guts to get that game done, especially having to bounce back from a really rough shooting first half. And it didn't get much better in the second half, but it got, good enough. That's exactly the kind of thing that separates a decent team from a very good team is, when it's not working out, are you still going to figure out a way to do it? So, anyway, San Jose State that played New Mexico tonight.
Yeah.
Not San Diego. Yeah, that is correct. San Diego State is currently playing Fresno on Fox Sports 1. But, San Diego State beat Creighton by 18 a couple weeks ago, which is crazy. And then they beat Gonzaga too.
That's why you looked at me all funny.
Yeah, or no, they lost to Gonzaga, they lost to Oregon, but they did beat Creighton 71-53. And then the 73-70 against Houston is big, and it's neutral ground, third place game in a Thanksgiving tournament. It's still a big win for them, and I think that's a really good team. But I'm going to echo what I said on Twitter a couple days ago. The AP voters are a bunch of dumb nerds. San Diego State is not better than Utah State. That's not the case to me. The rankings, especially this early in the season, don't hold a ton of weight, especially when you come to the AP poll. The AP poll actually doesn't matter hardly at all. So, it's good numbers. It's good to have comparisons against national teams and stuff. But you lose by 13 to a third-ranked Gonzaga, and then you go as an unranked team and beat 21 Creighton by 18. And you beat number 6 Houston neutral ground by 3 points after losing by 10 to Oregon in the night before. Everything is so back and forth, but I still do think that Utah State is the top team in the Mountain West, but San Diego State is right there.
Tell me what you really think with Stockton Jukes, brought to you by Cache Valley Bank. Mountains wait, whatever challenges and opportunities you face. Cache Valley Bank is here to support. Advanced Garage Door, we sell peace of mind, and Jerrick's Fine Jewelry. Everyone knows Jerrick's is the popular engagement ring store. And next on the topic of Tell Me What You Think, Stockton, I don't know, 30 words or less, describe the officiating tonight.
30 words?
Yes, we have a time limit. There's one.
Can they all be expletives?
No. George Carlin has highlighted the 7 words that you cannot say that the FCC is not friendly to, and we would like to broadcast.
We had our FCC lecture a couple weeks ago. I won't do it.
I've slept through those for the last 30 years and pretty much common sense on what to do. Once they told you once what not to say, you kind of know it. But going back to the text line right now, wrapping up Aggie Call here in beautiful Cache Valley. You can see the A. If the inversion's out, it's kind of
it was pretty clear today.
Yeah.
I bet we'll be able to see it on the way home.
Yeah.
Anyway, 95-73. First time texting in after going in person tonight. What a 3-point shooting game by Wyoming. Checked a little after halftime. They've only shot 29% on the season, 46% today. Yep. And then did you notice how there was only 1 or 2 shooting fouls in the first half versus however many in the second? Another crazy stat. That's actually a really great illustrator of just how absolutely awful the officiating was tonight. If you're not going to call it like that in the first half, do not call it like that in the second half when the game's on the line. Both teams were getting confused and very frustrated because you don't know what's allowed anymore. Very nitpicky calls. And then someone pointed out on Twitter too, anytime Utah State would get a foul or two called in their favor, Wyoming would just start hounding the officials from the bench, and they would get a slew of calls in their favor too. So the officials were not only out of control of that game, but they were very, very influenceable, which is two of the worst things that you can get out of an officiating crew on any given night.
9573 Stockton, would you hit him and ask him his name and information? We're going to hook you up with a Cafe Sabor gift card. Thanks for being a first-time texter, and congratulations on checking out your game tonight in person. The Aggies get a win against Wyoming. Coming up next to 0783. We've got, as a follow-up, comments about the sickness. It seems like everyone who played college basketball has heard the story of Michael Jordan's flu game and thinks Michael can do it. They can do it too, but that's not usually how it works. But Michael pushed off, by the way, just throwing that out there.
Yes, he did. Thank you. I have a hilarious story about this.
Okay.
So my dad, Brett, and I, Brett Jukes is just an unbelievably huge Utah Jazz fan. My name's Stockton. I should tell you everything you need to know. So he got really lucky, and he got selected out of the lottery for the Hall of Fame induction tickets when it was Mike and John Stockton in that class. So the two of us got to go to that Hall of Fame induction, one of my favorite memories of my entire life. I think I was like 7 years old, and Bowler Jack interviewed me on K-Jazz. My dad had to put my hair down with his freaking saliva because I had bedhead, and I was a kid, and I refused to do anything with it. But anyway, we're at the induction, and afterwards we go up and we meet John Stockton. That was super cool. But he also, we run into Mike because he's up there as well. And my dad says, "Hey, you pushed off, by the way." Said it to his face. He's seen Michael Jordan 3 times in his life, 2 in a working capacity, and the other one just while we were there. All 3 times he has told Michael Jordan to his face that he pushed off. And you know what Michael Jordan does every time?
He smiles.
Groans. No, he doesn't smile. He groans and he whines and he walks away because he's a big baby.
Going to the text line right now, 9315. A couple texts here. A few times I thought Utah State brought back their national winning wrestling team for the past. How did the refs let Wyoming do half and full Nelsons? I got you there. What makes the offense shot so bad? I think it's just maybe an off night, but it is a little concerning that we've noticed.
It's been an off night 4 games in a row.
In the first
it's not
half.
a good trend.
Yeah, so it's something that'll definitely have to be checked out. Amazing defense, a high percentage of the game. Defense wins road games, right? I mean, yeah, it does, but the offense is going to have to do a little bit better. And I think
this was a home game.
Yeah, the ball security is something that's going to have to be there because there's some alley-oop and loop passes and things that aren't really hitting the mark these times.
Yeah, there's a couple messy passes, but I will say I'll echo what was said a little bit earlier. The turnovers weren't too bad. You still had a positive assist to turnover ratio, but it's only a 9-8 instead of a 16-8 like you really want. So lots of things to improve upon. Lots and lots of numbers you can look at and plays you can pull up on film and different little tidbits that you can look at in practice. But I think the first thing in practice tomorrow morning is going to be end-to-end, baseline to baseline for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Calhoun sounds like he wants to build, and he's not going to settle for anything less than 100% execution.
Let me remind you what he said at the end of that game, and this is a verbatim quote. I thought our guys were a little overconfident. That's never going to happen again. You know how that never happens again? You run it out of them.
Oh, man. I feel bad for the guy getting a win and get it, but I know it's the conditioning and the coach and the mentality that, getting through this close win and how they take it. That means the next time a close win comes up for our Aggies, instead of 3 points, it might be 6 or 9 that they're able to put. And then we'll start seeing these games swing a little bit more as this team gels together. And looking forward to Saturday, Stockton. What do you expect next as we're entering the final moments here of Aggie Call?
I expect that this team is going to have a rough couple practices in the next 48 hours. They might have 3 in the next 48 hours. I don't know how Calhoun's really feeling. I think he does keep things very close to his chest, which is why I was pretty surprised that he was, a little off the cuff tonight and being very blatant about how he felt, especially, talking about the officiating and those guys, they hold us every play. And I went back and I looked at it at halftime and I was talking to the officials and all this stuff and telling them to go watch film. That's baller, first of all. That's very punk rock of him. Second of all, I think that Calhoun knows what needs to be done to adjust. And while he is still installing this system and there's still some growing pains that are going to happen, the fact that you're at 8-0 right now is very impressive. No one in this country thought that was going to happen. I think, maybe a handful of Aggie fans had a feeling it was going to happen. I expected us at this point, honestly, to be probably about 6-1, 6-2. So we've overachieved for sure. We did not overachieve tonight.
No.
That's a win that
we survived.
You scrape by with, you survive, and really that win is a virtue of you got more shot attempts off than the other team. There's no stat on this box score that I'm looking at right now that leans in Utah State's favor, other than the fact that they had 6 more shot attempts and 15 more foul shot attempts.
I think the grit is something you can't really measure it on the stat sheet, but when you look at Carson and you look at Kano had a great game. Like it was kind of that's off the bench and made some stops there. But also you had some other guys, Mason Falslev. You can look at his stats, but you don't see him going to the floor for that loose ball in the second half and being put in a headlock and, still fighting for the jump ball to make it happen, to fight that. I forget who else was it. Was it Drake? It was Drake Allen going for a loose ball out of bounds that went past the back court line, and it looked like he got fouled. Like, it looked like he was diving for it out, and it was just ball off Utah State and everything. It was an interesting call on some of those things, but I think that's the grit that might have got those 3 points that when they were up by 6 and Wyoming went down and hit that Hail Mary 3-point shot right in front of the defender, I was like, oh no, where is this going to go? And I'm looking for Stockton. You stepped out of the room for a second. I'm like, if we go to overtime, man, my anxiety can't take this. Between the Aggies head coaching search for football and the basketball today, I'm going to need Zoloft, Prozac, and several other generic name brand muscle relaxers to get down from this one.
Yeah, it's stupid, but I feel physically exhausted after watching that game.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of other stuff that's been going on today and this week, and we all still have lives outside of this. But man, that was exhausting. I did not expect that to be that uncomfortable all night long. And I'll say it again: the fact that you get a win out of that that's a good, that's a positive, that's what you need out of a really great team that's trying to make a good run this season and do it with another brand new head coach. But it's still, it really shouldn't have been that uncomfortable. It looks like we've got one more text coming in here. 9315 Mason is amazing with the IQ factor for basketball, off the charts. Yeah, it not only does he, have all of these unquantifiables and have that motor that gets your team going and stuff that you don't really see on the stat sheet, he also has the numbers. He has the second best stats tonight on this team behind Ian Martinez, who, had a really good game. But Falslev tonight, 6 rebounds with his 19 points, 3 for 5 from the stripe and an assist. 3 fouls. He was getting pretty aggressive, but that's a factor of him getting after the ball.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with the fouls that were being given. I think it just, very much in waves, like the user on X posted it was. And that it's kind of, one of the things how you play the game. If the refs are going to be like that, you're going to have to make ticky-tack stuff back and forth. But what impresses me, it seems like Coach Calhoun comes out with a different team in the second half. And we just need to figure out how to get that second half team to start the game. And I think we see some of those early season showings. Maybe the reset comes this Saturday. What are they going to be, 20, 24-point favorites on this one? It didn't really play well this time. How's it going to play this Saturday in your eyes, Stockton?
Well, let's take a look at Utah. Let's do a little scouting here. Because when you look at Utah Tech, obviously that's a smaller school from, down in southern Utah that you don't take too seriously, and they are also 2-8, 0-6 on the road. So you're right if you don't take them seriously, unfortunately. It's a not great team. Their only wins this year are against the University of Denver, who I don't even believe are they D1 in basketball now?
University of Denver?
Yeah, another D1. They're really good at hockey and they're really good at gymnastics, but I don't know about anything else. They lost to the Montana Grizz by 3. They lost to Cal State Northridge by 10. They lost to Wyoming 86-69.
So the Grizz is the 86-69 to Wyoming?
Yep.
And then they beat the Grizz by 3 points?
No, they lost
to the Grizz by 3 points. So, I mean, I think it shows you a little opportunity there. We beat the Grizz by, 15, was it, or something like that? Or it was closer than it should have been.
Yeah, it was like 13 or something.
Yeah, so...
but, yeah, when you look at Utah Tech's statistics, like they've got scoring down the score sheet, but they're also only averaging 68 points per game. The early analytics for ESPN on this one, because you know how they have that probability of winning or whatever. Matchup Predictor says 98.8% chance for Utah State to win.
So if you're a Utah Tech fan, there's still a chance, you know. But
Tech is averaging 67.7 a game, and they're allowing 75.4 per game. So that's a game where they were kind of talking about it tonight, where there's no excuse to not score above 80 points. You should have scored above 80 points against Wyoming tonight. You should score at least 90 on Saturday night.
How do you feel this is a barometer, a temperature to take for this team heading into the next couple of weeks? I think it's the 22nd we have St. Mary's, so just about 3 weeks away. I mean, it's kind of going to give us a little bit of temperature range, how this team bounces back. Of course, they did the back-to-back with the Thanksgiving tournament and then come back to the Spectrum and play Wyoming in a game that was a lot closer than all the data showed. It's kind of a measurement of this team this Saturday to see how they come back and respond.
Yeah, and I will say this too, because with Utah Tech being a little bit of a cakewalk, and your next two being South Florida at home and then UC San Diego at home, which are also two teams that are not going to challenge you the same way that your conference schedule is going to challenge you. I want to see how they bounce back on Saturday, but I'm not really going to buy it until we see what they do on the 22nd at St. Mary's.
Yeah, St. Mary's, that's a big one to circle on the calendar, but you got to go.
I'm still on board with this team, but I'm not fully sold on a conference championship until we see them get a win at St. Mary's.
I still have my Final Four tickets for San Antonio booked, so I'm all good. You know what? A win's a win. There's a blue light shining in Cache Valley. You can see it all over town. Stockton, final thoughts?
That undefeated map that you like so much is going to shrink by 5 more teams tonight, and Utah State is not one of them.
I know, and the University of Oregon Ducks.
Oh, it's not looking good right now, brother.
They're down just a little bit the last time I checked. But
yeah, it was 38-31 last time I checked.
I haven't been focusing on Duck stuff since taking
47-39 now.
Taking over the Aggie stuff. But, grew up in Southern Oregon for a long time, so we'll always have Ducks running through the family. But with that, here in Cache Valley, it's a little chilly outside, but blue lights shining. And the Aggies win. Still undefeated. One of the only undefeated basketball teams in the country. And that map going to grow bigger with that Utah State territory covering all over. Looks like the Western United States now when you think about it. So with Stockton Jukes, I'm J.D. Walker. We're going to go ahead and call it a night with a win over the Cowboys. We'll be back with you for another edition of KVNU Aggie Game Day and Aggie Call coming up this Saturday as the Aggies take on Utah Tech. For Stockton Jukes, I'm J.D. Walker. Have a great night, Cache Valley, and thanks for allowing us to do radio in the greatest place on earth, right here in Logan.
This Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.